In a world where every second counts, police officers are on the front lines, working tirelessly to maintain law and order. With their dash cams capturing real-time footage, we gain a unique glimpse into the challenges they face daily. From high-speed pursuits to tense traffic stops, these moments showcase the dedication and bravery of those who serve and protect. Join us as we dive into some of the most intense and revealing police dashcam clips, highlighting the reality of their vital work in our communities. This dashcam footage features an incident between LaQuandra Borden and the police. LaQuandra Borden might have slept in her home that night if only she had chosen to pay a small fine and apologize for shoplifting. What was supposed to cost her a few $100 now takes 7 years out of her life. The incident took place on November 10, 2015 at around 10:30 a.m. A call was made to the South Carolina Police Department by a local Walmart. The manager had caught LaQuandra and her friend Chastity shoplifting. They tried denying that they had shoplifted, but there was more than enough evidence proving otherwise. The manager showed footage of LaQuandra and Chastity loading items worth over $2,000 into a plastic bag, and there were multiple employees who could back the story. The manager caught them when they tried escaping through the garden center. As the policeman questioned LaQuandra, she told them to give her a quick minute to take something from her vehicle. The police made a mistake, trusting a remorseless shoplifter. She decided that the best option would be to make a run for it. As she tried running, an officer got into her vehicle quickly, but her reckless driving made him hop out. During that whole scenario, an officer actually discharged his weapon, with the bullet going into LaQuandra's arm. But the bullet wound was nothing to LaQuandra. She wasn't ready to let that stop her. This was how the high-speed chase began. LaQuandra had crashed earlier, and her Jeep was smoking because of that. To be honest, if she had actually been thinking, she would have realized there was no escape for her. Her smoking car was an obvious banner indicating where she was at every point in time, even if she managed to lose them. LaQuandra, like every mindless villain, only cared about herself now, with no concern for the safety of other road users. She began driving recklessly, causing chaos on the road. Seems one of her tires had popped earlier, so she does deserve credit. There's a bullet in her arm, she's lost a tire, and she's driving a smoking vehicle. I'm even surprised the vehicle managed to stay on the road. The officers behind her informed some officers to plant a spike trap along the road. All the officers had to do was wait patiently for the car to come to a stop. After a while, the car stopped, and the officers stormed the vehicle and arrested LaQuandra. Basically, shoplifting between $2,000 to $10,000 attracts a $1,000 fine or 5 years in jail in South Carolina. LaQuandra decided to be the creator of her own problems, giving herself assured jail time. She was charged with assault and battery, hit and run, and criminal conspiracy. LaQuandra was sentenced to 7 years in jail, while Chastity was charged with 3 counts of shoplifting. It's unknown if Chastity went to jail for her crimes.
Man, turn out the car! Get out of the car! Back up, back up! Back up! Back up, put in park! Put in park! Put in park! Get out of the car now! Get out of the car! With the police and these stoppers aren't parallel here. South between our south, we're still heading north. We're still 17, 572 south. North 42, and north 42, coming up over Bristol.
This Mustang driver clearly wanted attention. He drove onto the emergency lane for easy passage through the traffic-congested road. When he eventually sighted the police, he decided to toy with them. Immediately after passing them, he began speeding. We all know Mustangs are speed demons. They can move very quickly, so the possibility of the cops catching him was slim. The guy, in need of a thrill, intentionally slowed down at intersections to give the officers the impression that he was pulling over. But as soon as an officer got out of the vehicle, he sped off again. The chase continued for a while, with the guy still toying with the officers at intersections. The Mustang driver eventually got tired of playing games, so he decided it was time to leave. He pulled onto the freeway, floored the gas pedal, and the police vehicles disappeared behind him. Chester, South Carolina, the police pulled over a white pickup truck driven by 51-year-old Eric Bernard. He began talking to the officers, but when the conversation seemed to not go his way, he drove off. What happened next left him and all the officers present stunned. The police chase began. It was barely seconds into the chase. He had already begun losing control of the vehicle. Suddenly, something happened. The car flipped as if it were performing in the Vehicle Olympics. The officers got out and arrested Eric. They now had reason to search his car. In it, they found 112 grams of fentanyl, about 56 grams of methamphetamine, approximately $4,000 in cash, and some other drugs. All these hinted to only one thing. Eric was a drug dealer. He was later charged with possession of drugs with intent to distribute. The county sheriff also said the amount of fentanyl in Eric's possession was equal to 56,000 deadly doses, which is almost twice the size of Chester's population.
Okay. Hold on a minute, man. Damn. Let me roll my window. Man, let me roll my window. I gotta shut it to roll the window. Man, come on, man.
85 miles an hour. Still on. It's a bypass. Right on. Ashford Street, heading north south.
1050.
This officer pulled over a speeding vehicle for a traffic stop. The suspect seemed to comply, but it was all just a ploy to get the officer out of his vehicle so he could speed away. The chase had been going on for a while. The suspect's car couldn't handle all the reckless driving he had put it through. Now the car has a broken bumper and a punctured tire. As if the punctured tire wasn't bad enough, the tire completely fell off. The relentless suspect decided to continue evading the officer with only 3 wheels. He pushed the car beyond its limits and was able to cross the state line with just 3 wheels, which is very impressive. Since the chase was no longer in the officer's jurisdiction, he had to turn back.
Hit this blade and made it to back pro ready.
20th, 2024, a Florida Highway Patrol trooper was on the tail of a white Mercedes heading north on the Florida Turnpike in St. Lucie County. The officer had a suspicious hunch, so he decided to run the suspect's plates, only to find out the suspect's license was suspended and the tags were under seizure by the county. This was the reason the trooper began tailing the suspect. Not long after, the trooper put on his sirens, signaling the Mercedes to pull over for a traffic stop. Frightened, Derek Taylor decided it was best for him to run away, so the chase began. The suspect tried evading the officers through town, but couldn't. Now he was back on the highway. The trooper followed the suspect, only to witness how foolish the suspect actually was. The officer continued to perform maneuvers until the suspect spun out of control. They got out of their vehicles and walked toward the suspect's vehicle, arresting two suspects.
Pit. Don't move! Don't move! Don't move! Hands! Don't move! Don't move! Do not move! I got you. Come back here. Driver, get the out of the car. I'm coming to your side. Hands up. Hands up. Hands up. Child. Walk back towards me. Walk back towards me. Walk back towards me. Towards the sound of my voice. Get on your knees. On your knees. Watch the car. Go.
The police noticed the Corvette's window tint was just too dark, so they pulled him over for a traffic stop. The Corvette seemed to pull over to the side, but the officers noticed something. The parking lights hadn't come on yet, which hinted that the driver planned to evade them. To everyone's surprise, the Corvette driver allowed the passenger to get out before speeding off, leaving the police officer confused. The Corvette is an extremely fast car, so the only chance the officer had of stopping the suspect was to intercept him elsewhere. But the suspect wasn't afraid to use his car's speed and sped through like it was nothing.
I got a passenger getting out. White girl, white shirt.
According to recent news reports, there has been an increase in vehicle theft in 2024. These two teenagers were also expert carjackers. Instead of learning a skill or getting their grades up, they decided the fast route to money was best suited for them. On May 7, 2024, police in Ohio received a call about a stolen Hyundai. The police jumped into their vehicle and raced to the car's last known location. Upon arriving at the scene, they saw the stolen car making a U-turn, and the panicked car thieves drove right into them. The police revealed the teens were already in the system for stealing vehicles and evading the cops, but their actions this time just proved they hadn't learned their lesson. Their poor driving skills were quite evident as they continued moving recklessly on the road. The chase went on, and they hit a straight road where it's reported the teens reached speeds of over 100 miles per hour. An officer who was ready to deploy spike strips ahead was left shocked when the teens executed an evasive maneuver straight out of a Fast and Furious scene. They started making quick, sharp turns, making it difficult for the officers to follow, but the police remained relentless. However, this particular officer could no longer continue the chase as his vehicle had reached its limit. Another police car took the lead, and what they saw next left them stunned. The officer followed the teens into an active construction zone, and you can hear him complaining that he couldn't see a thing. The officers were left wondering how the teens managed to maneuver through the site without slowing down. After a while, the officers noticed that the Hyundai had begun reaching its limits as the speed dropped substantially. The officer then began to perform pit maneuvers, and not long after, the car drifted off to the side and hit a tree. Both teens surrendered. If the vehicle had gone any longer, it might not have been called a car anymore, as it was already completely destroyed. Both teens are now in custody and sitting in juvenile detention, but they don't seem too worried since they usually get out on the same day they get caught.
Did you turn Climb Road back westbound? Six rewind up to 640.
Thank you.
Here for 604 here as well.
604 Channel 3.
Southbound Georgia Road. It's going to be coming up to area of Walmart. Just turned back eastbound on Klein from Georgiaville, eastbound Klein. Just thank you, they got six over by the house. Right? He's going to be inside of this shopping mall back to South on Denver.
I can't see, bro. How did you make it cross? You ran it all over.
Six three at
Are they agree on all this place?
631 Klein and Riverbend.
Good job reading the entrance way to the football stadium. Your left, Mount Street, or southbound.
Get out, get out.
Back up that
Like most traffic stops, this guy was pulled over for having expired tags. After the officer pulled him over, he noticed the suspect seemed to be under the influence. The officer then began questioning him, but the suspect gave no clear answers and had no means of identification. The officer figured the easiest thing to do would be to take the suspect's fingerprints, so he did. As soon as the officer went back to his vehicle to check the prints, the suspect made a run for it. A police chase began. If you recall, the suspect was under the influence, but his driving skills were top-notch. The suspect was moving at unbelievable speeds and made a sudden sharp turn that shocked the officer, though the officer was able to follow. The chase was extremely high-paced now. Even a stone could have sent either car off course. As the suspect made another sharp turn on the road, the officer decided to give up for both his safety and that of other road users. On July 8, 2022, an Arkansas police trooper received a call about a high-speed pursuit near the Texas border. The police were after a red Hyundai that was spotted tossing a bundle of white powder out the window. The trooper parked near the Arkansas border, carefully waiting for the suspect to come his way. Immediately after the suspect passed through state lines, the trooper informed the Texas police to allow the Arkansas police to handle it since it was in their jurisdiction. Ahead, 2 troopers had already set up 2 sets of spike strips, but would this plan work out?
I'm going over the bridge. We're setting up the spikes.
I'd put yours over there. Draw that string all the way out over here. And I'll keep mine over here. If he comes on his shoulder. Or you can get on the inside there. Get over there. Put yours on this side. If they try to go that way, pull it that way, and I'll pull mine this way. And we'll get them.
Unsuccessful spike.
With the spikes ready, all the trooper had to do was stalk behind the suspect's car. The tires of the suspect's car were popped by the spikes, making it easier to catch up to him now.
When we jump on that road, we got hard jump on both sides.
Don't show her, passing up the bridge, don't show. He's ready.
With all his tires burst, he basically had no control over his car anymore, making it quite easy for the cops to perform a pit maneuver on him. He crashed into a tree and exited the vehicle, surrendering. 2 suspects, Pope and Kendrick Bailey, were arrested on the scene, but charged with different crimes. Pope, the driver, was charged with fleeing, possession of drugs, and aggravated assault for trying to hit a trooper earlier, while Bailey was only charged with multiple counts of possession.
Stay back! Hamilton, come back!
Ready.